Good evening, everyone. Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Stadium for Varsity Football Competition Week 5 of Season 19. Please welcome our guests from Dr. Phillips High School. They are the Panthers. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Before we begin our game this evening, we ask that you please stand and remove your hats as we honor America with a presentation of colors by the cadets of Wekiva High School's Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, followed by the playing of our national anthem by the Pride of Wekiva, your Mustang Marching Band.
Our thanks to the cadets of Wekiva High School's Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, as well as our Mustang Marching Band for their participation in this evening's pregame festivities. For those of you in the stadium, we want to remind you that we are live streaming tonight's game, so if you have friends and family back in Dr. Phillips, elsewhere in Apopka, or anywhere in the world, and they are not able to join us in person for tonight's game, they can do so in one of two ways. You can either go to nfhsnetwork.com or the NFHS Network app on your favorite mobile device, and we are there. Just search for either Wekiva or Dr. Phillips. If you are not a subscriber to NFHS Network, no problem. We also live stream absolutely free on our YouTube channel, Wekiva Sports. Just open up the YouTube app on your favorite computer, smart TV, or mobile device and search for Wekiva Sports. And as our team captains take midfield for the coin toss, we'll take this opportunity to introduce the officials for tonight's game. They are from the Central Florida Officials Association here in Orlando. They are referee Steve Carter, umpire Jamal Taylor, head linesman Willie Hewley, line judge Zoe Cooper, back judge Jordan Durham, and electronic clock operator Amy Paul. We thank them for their dedicated service to our high school athletic programs and join them along with our participating schools, reminding everyone to make great sportsmanship a part of this and every athletic competition. And now, please welcome to the field, your Wekiva High School Mustangs. The Panthers Panthers have won the toss and elected to receive. That means they will have the opening offensive possession of the first half. And we'll be getting started in just a moment with Week 5, Season 19 of Mustang football.
I want to extend a special welcome to those of you who have joined us online. My name is Mark Barnchy, the voice of the Mustangs and Sports Information Director here at Wekiva High School. I will be joined in just a moment by Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief. And we'll be taking you through tonight's contest. As Neil will tell you, Dr. Phillips is a perennial powerhouse. They are maybe a bit more vulnerable this season just based on their matriculation and graduation from the previous couple of years, but certainly I wouldn't be too worried if I were a Panthers fan. So far they are on track to be their usual selves as we head toward the second half of the season and the postseason. Dr. Phillips, if they are not in the conversation for regional championships and state semifinal and final appearances, that's a disappointment for them. They have a very high standard and a very long tradition of winning seasons. Wekiva, on the other hand, has been a bit up and down. Won 3 games last year, looking for their second win this year. A very young team, an injured team. The starting quarterback for the Mustangs, Justin Sessler, was injured last week. Wekiva right now sitting on a 1-3 record going into Week 5. They did pick up a win over Eustis last week, and so the question is, can the Mustangs tame 2 sets of Panthers in a row? Neil, what do you think?
Well, Mark, and thank you as always. This group of Panthers is much stronger than the ones they had last week. Of course, Dr. Phillips, always a state powerhouse, always a state championship contender. Pretty much from the Dr. Phillips perspective, if they do not go to the playoffs, get to the state semifinals, that's considered a bad year at Dr. Phillips. So before we get started, of course, Wekiva will be starting their JV quarterback tonight. That's Jaden Robinson. He'll be wearing number 15, a sophomore. If you were not with us last week, their number 1 starter, Justin Sessler, was injured with about 30 seconds remaining in the first half. And he's day-to-day. And unfortunately, their number 2 quarterback is no longer with the team. Dr. Phillips comes in 3-1. Defeating University, Apopka, and Ocoee. Their lone loss was in Dillon. That was the opening game of the season. Wekiva looking to go 2-3 after losing to Edgewater, West Orange, and Horizon. They pulled off the victory, as Mark mentioned, last week against Eustis. And this, of course, Mark, we've talked about it throughout the entire season. This trend continues where the opponents continue to get very strong starting field position. They'll be right by midfield. Dr. Phillips, that is, to start this game.
The Panthers' reception is fielded by Caden Ryan. Dr. Phillips will start their opening possession of the first half from their own 45-yard line.
So Neil, as you mentioned, it has been a struggle for field position for Wekiva so far this season, and we're starting things off maybe not on the foot that we wanted to tonight. A 45-yard line, at least it's the Panther side of the field, but obviously a short kick for sure.
So under center for Dr. Phillips, that's West. That's Cameron West, the 6 foot, 170-pound senior. And as we've mentioned several times, he'll be starting about as good a field position as a team could ask for at the DP 45-yard line. So the senior comes in tonight. completing 22 of 30 passes, 232 yards, 3 TDs, yet to throw an interception. And you're going to see probably a typical Dr. Phillips offensive philosophy as Wekiva gets away with that first one. A bad throw. Looks like just need to get the jitters out of the way there. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the DP 45. So 11:46 in the first quarter as DP and West go back to work. He'll drop back. This time that slip screen finds his man. And again, this is typical DP football. They throw the ball 2-3 yards and then they rely on the yards after catch for those big gains. And there's an example, just simply outrunning the coverage, catching that ball in stride, moving forward.
Ventress Irvin on the carry for the Panthers. He has the ball out to the 32-yard line and a DP first down.
So with the ball now at the Wekiva 32-yard line, that's a 23-yard gain. And they'll continue to matriculate that ball up the field. Solid gain on first down, but it is going to come back most likely. There is a penalty. Looks like it's holding, usually holding where you see that flag being thrown behind the line of scrimmage.
Flag on the play.
So a few backdrops as we get started. Again, Wekiva comes in 1-3. Dr. Phillips 3-1, the opposite. Dr. Phillips outscoring its 4 opponents by 137-68. And I do stand corrected.
Called to the Mustangs. It's 10-yard penalty, and it is enough for a DP first down.
So I do stand corrected. It's against Wekiva. Last week they were able to really limit the amount, only making 4 penalties. But today, 3rd play from scrimmage as the handoff straight up the middle. Nothing fancy there. And so Dr. Phillips, one of those teams which we see far more often in 2025 than we did 30 or even 40 years ago. They use the pass to set up the run. Out of the one-back set, they hand it off. And just like that, 5 plays, 6-0 lead for Dr. Phillips, scoring the touchdown from 4 yards out, 10:40 in the first quarter.
Zion Matthews with a 5-yard run into the end zone for a Panther touchdown. They'll take a 6-0 lead with 10 minutes, 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
So Zion Matthews moving that ball the last 12 yards on 2 different carries. And a 6-0 lead for Dr. Phillips as they attempt the point after touchdown. And this is Federico Montalvo Salazar, the junior, 6 feet tall. And he'll be kicking the ball out of the hold of T.N. Williams, the backup quarterback. And 7-0.
Federico Montalvo Salazar's try is good. And so that will extend the Panther lead to 7-0 with 10 minutes, 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
And so while we got the break, again, Dr. Phillips coming out, the proverbial house of fire there, looking unstoppable, a 5-play drive, 55 yards. But we will take a look at this rivalry. Again, Dr. Phillips comes in 3-1, Wekiva opposite, 1-3. Dr. Phillips beating University, Apopka in Ocoee, their lone loss to Dillard, although that was a 39-0 loss. Although, again, that was the opening game, so obviously teams are supposed to get better as the season progresses. A 137-68 scoring margin, Wekiva losing to Edgewater, West Orange, and Horizon. First 3 games they came out, beat Eustis last week as we started off. Another set of Panthers. A 14-0 defense carrying him to that victory. So Wekiva looking also for a 2nd consecutive victory for the first time in about 2 seasons. So the 2 teams have played 9 times. Dr. Phillips holding a 7-2 edge. at 9 games is the 5th most in Wekiva history as far as facing an opponent. As the ball taken back at the 5-yard line, cutting across the field, a little juke, a little jive, a little shimmy, and Wekiva will be starting off with not great field position, but what we've seen, Mark, that actually is a little bit better than what we have seen. We've seen them starting inside the 10 a lot this season. They'll be starting out around the 25.
Matthew Beecham on the return for the Mustangs. That pulls the ball out to the 25-yard line. The Mustangs will start from there with 1st and 10.
So again, Wekiva starting the sophomore Jaden Robinson due to injuries. And his first play at the varsity level from the 25 of Wekiva, it'll be a handoff straight ahead, nothing fancy, and 10 yards, maybe a 1st down. Just barrels ahead. And yes, that is a 1st down. It's actually an 11-yard gain.
Jones on the carry, and that puts the ball at the 32-yard line for a pickup of 12 yards. And a Mustang, 1st down.
So can't ask for a better start. 1 play, 12 yards, 1st down. Landon Jerome carrying the pigskin. And he'll take the ball again. This time nowhere to go, although he does push his way ahead. He'll
Landon
gain
Jerome
about
on
3
the carry.
yards.
Rashad Ray Taylor on the stop for the Panthers. Pick up of 2 yards on the play. That puts the ball at the 39-yard line. And brings up 2nd and 8 for the Mustangs.
Okay, so again, 7-2 lead for Dr. Phillips in the series. They last met in the 2020 season. Dr. Phillips won that game 28-19. Wekiva's 2 victories against Dr. Phillips 2017 at 14-0 scores. Wekiva goes to the screen, nothing doing there. And actually, that's a lateral. And a 13-0 lead for Dr. Phillips just that quickly. Youth and inexperience, the mistake mentally. Dr. Phillips seizes it. And
the lateral pass is dropped. That is statistically a fumble. Rashad Ray Taylor has the recovery for the Panthers and runs it back for a DP touchdown.
So about 35 yards. So we'll have to take a look again at that replay to get the official distance, but it looked like it was 33 yards from our viewpoint.
Federico Montalvo Salazar ready to kick.
Snap down, ball down, kick up, and a 14-0 lead.
Try is good and leaks a 14-0 lead with 9 minutes 17 seconds remaining in the 1st quarter. We'd like to invite everyone to come back out and see us again next week, which will also be broadcast on YouTube and the NFHS Network. Mustangs will have their 3rd consecutive home game here at Mustang Field. And Wekiva will be hosting Oviedo for homecoming. So make sure you get here early as we present the homecoming court. And we will also have the presentation of the King and Queen at halftime.
So Wekiva in 2017 winning by 14-0 over DP. They then also beat Dr. Phillips by 34-0 season. The next season, 2018. At 2017 seasons, the teams did play a second time during the playoffs. It was a 28-7 victory by Dr. Phillips. And of course, that was en route to Dr. Phillips' lone state championship. Of course, they are constantly considered a state championship contender. Dr. Phillips' other victories over Wekiva came during 2011, 12, and then 15 through 19. They played 4 straight years.
Ball at the 35-yard line. That's where Wekiva has 1st and 10.
And Dr. Phillips and Wekiva were also members of the same district in 2011, 12, 15, and 16. Rodney Wells, the head coach for Dr. Phillips, now in his 15th season. Of course, as I mentioned, 2017, a state championship coach. As Robinson hands that ball off, And trying to power ahead on that right side.
Carried by Chris Jones. That's a pickup of 1 yard. It puts the ball at the 36-yard line. Brings up 2nd and 9.
So Wekiva in a 14-0 hole as early as possible. As they now try that right side, pretty much the same result, a late flag as well.
Chris Jones on the carry, flag on the play.
So Wekiva going with...
Illegal substitution is called against the Panthers. That's a 5-yard donation to the Mustang cause. And replay of 2nd down.
So Wekiva getting a reprieve. And so as you can see, not sure what is going on, but the penalty was more than 5 yards. That's looks like it's a 15-yarder. So that's most likely unsportsmanlike conduct. Wekiva will take it.
Penalties are enforced. That puts the ball across midfield at the 48-yard line. Mustang first down.
First time Wekiva's had the ball on DP side, and see what they do with it. The swing pass down to the 40-35, rambling for another first down is Avante
Pass
Scott.
Is caught by Scott. And that is down to the 36-yard line for a pickup of 12 yards. And a Mustang first down.
So Wekiva showing some mojo here, showing some semblance of offense. Certainly give him credit as well, coming back after that miscue, which led to the touchdown, the defensive touchdown. As Robinson lines him up, one back set, 2 receivers each side. The handoff straight ahead, trying to blast through that line of scrimmage. It'll be about 1 yard, maybe 2. Chris Jones carrying that ball. Robinson lines up Wekiva in that one back set. Going with 2 receivers, ball on the left hash mark, 6:52, first quarter, 14-0 lead for Dr. Phillips. As I believe that was handed off there. Again, nothing fancy, just trying to set up 3rd and mid-range distances. So it'll be about 3rd and 6 now for
Chris
Wekiva.
Jones on the carry. Pickup of 2 yards on the play, puts the ball at the 34-yard line. And that'll bring up 3rd and 8 for the Mustangs.
So critical play for Wekiva if they want to keep this score close here early. And we will not get the play off. Whistles abound. Once again, thank you for joining us on this Friday night. We hope you enjoy the broadcast as much as Mark, the broadcast production students, and myself enjoy bringing it to you. And let's go down to the field, see what the penalty is, and it is against DP. So Wekiva catching a couple of breaks here.
Offsides is called against the Panthers. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. And a replay of third down.
And so, Mark, 5 yards, but more importantly, maybe not more importantly, but something we have not had the opportunity to say a lot, they're actually at the DP 29-yard line, threatening to
knocking
put some
at the
points.
red zone here, and an opportunity to at least threaten to get on the scoreboard. And
yeah, at least providing some level of competition. And
we've now reached the midpoint of the first quarter, and so we'll take a quick break for the official timeout. 6 minutes, 7 seconds remaining in the first period. 14-0 Panthers here on week 5, season 19 of Mustang football.
So back to live action. Wekiva facing a 3rd and 3 at the Dr. Phillips 29-yard line. We are live from Mustang Field, home of Wekiva. Wekiva trying to win 2 consecutive games. Dr. Phillips looking for its 4th straight. The handoff and a nice juke and a nice jive. Nice job of following that right side of his line. It looks like it's a first down. Yes, it is. I see the chains moving. So Wekiva sustaining some offensive consistency and
Jones
momentum.
on the carry. The ball spotted at the 24-yard line. That's a gain of 5 yards, and it's enough for a Mustang. First down.
So Wekiva now is 3 first downs in this possession. They trail 14-0. Dr. Phillips taking the opening kickoff. 1st and 10 at their own 45-yard line. 5 plays later, their running back Zion Matthews busting through the middle of the line for a touchdown, giving them a lead they have not lost since yet. That's Robinson, caught up from JV, going to the air, and incomplete, but there is a flag. The intended receiver was number 1.
Pass intended for
number 3,
Xavier Gates falls incomplete, which will bring up 2nd and 10 pending the outcome of a penalty marker.
So Wekiva continues to use the Hank Stram language, meticulate the ball down the field. They're certainly doing a good job on this possession. Of course,
pass interference called against the Panther defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, and a Mustang first down.
And it'll be 1st and goal from the 9-yard line. Something we have not had the opportunity to say much this year, Mark. So Wekiva, again, showing some offensive prowess, showing some offensive wares in this second possession as we move into the latter stages of the first quarter. And now the direct snap. That was Matthew Beecham going both ways, trying to catch the Panthers off guard. The defensive line having nothing to do with it.
No gain on the play. The ball remains the 11-yard line for 2nd and 10.
So Wekiva, again, I was wrong, making a mistake. They're actually at the 11, not the 9. So Wekiva can pick up a first down without scoring. Of course, the Wekiva, all they care about right now is getting into the end zone. Wekiva's been shut out twice this season as they continue to try to slam that ball through the middle of the defensive line. And just like that, the possession's over. There was a fumble. At least DP's running off the field as if they recovered a fumble. Wekiva looks like they're still in shock. A couple of the players are still standing next to the referees. Now they're moving back towards their own sideline. And yes, it is Dr. Phillips' ball. Dr. Phillips' possession. So
the ball is fumbled at the 5-yard line and recovered by Dr. Phillips. DP takes over from their own 10-yard line.
So the youth and inexperience rearing its ugly head again, Mark. Wekiva putting together some threat of some semblance of a threat to Dr. Phillips, and really opportunity to build some momentum there, and that all goes away with the fumble.
Yeah, Neil, I mean, it's a real demoralizer if you're Wekiva. You got to bounce back from this, mentally and emotionally. That's the best offensive opportunity that Wekiva has had against a team of this caliber all season. And instead of 7 points or 8 points, they end up with a turnover.
Yeah.
First play of this possession for the Panthers is taken by Zion Matthews, number 2.
Yeah, Mark, but I'd also point out, even if they don't score, there's a big difference between turning the ball over on downs and fumbles. Again, fumbles are the type of plays that turn coaches' hairs gray.
That's a pick up of 5 yards. 2nd and 5 coming up for the Panthers.
And at this point, you're already down 14-0, and now DP starting to flex.
Outside run by Jaden Smith. Tackle made by Jakari Bellamy. That's good for another 5 yards to the 20-yard line, and it is just enough for a Panther first down.
And now you give DP that opportunity to get comfortable, to get into their offense. And now you're seeing it. As I mentioned, DP does not come up with a lot of initial big gains as they'll try that middle of the line, defensive line collapsing immediately, and down goes the running back. I believe that was Matthews getting the call again, going back to Matthews. They pick up most of the yardage.
Matthews on the carry. Luke Morency and Jakari Bellamy on the stop. No gain on the play. That'll bring up 2nd and 10. And yeah, Neil, to your point, when you lose the ball at the 10-yard line, it's statistically not that different than a punt or over on downs, in the sense that you've still pinned Dr. Phillips with a 90-yard field. As we get a run here from Zion Matthews, that's good for a pickup of 8 yards, and we have a late penalty marker on the play.
And now you're seeing DP, they're going exclusively to the ground game, 4 straight runs. And this is where it gets really hard to stop to start Dr. Phillips. They don't get a lot of yardage up until that initial contact or catch.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness is called against both teams. Those penalties will offset. The outcome of the play stands.
DP's offense is designed, and they get most of the yardage after that initial contact or yard or caught ball, as they just slam that ball ahead, following the left guard.
Once again, Zion Matthews on the carry. Short yardage gain there to the 32-yard line. Let's pick up a 4. And it is enough for a Panther first down. And so, Neil, you'll notice that not a lot of time here between plays. Dr. Phillips is not operating like a team that's up 2 touchdowns in the first quarter.
Well, that's their normal. They're normally a no-huddle team anyway. And give credit back there on defense. The long pass broken up. .227 remaining, first quarter. DP up 14-0. And to your point, Mark.
Pass is broken up by Matthew Beecham and falls incomplete. That'll bring up 2nd and 10. So, Neil, while the Mustangs may have been deflated on offense on the last possession, that's a shot in the arm for Wekiva, because that was certainly a touchdown if it had not been defeated in the air. And now the pass right down the middle is complete to Xavion Mincy. Stop is made by Jakari Bellamy.
The DP going right back to doing what they do best, although it's not going to be a gain. There's a penalty, everybody walking back. And Mark.
Holding called against the Panther offense. That's 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. And a replay of 2nd down.
So that'll push
Mustangs
the ball back.
Get away with what would have been a disaster. Well, would have certainly put Dr. Phillips in excellent offensive field position there, and instead they go backwards.
Ball at the DP 22-yard line, and now they're opening up those receivers. They got 5 receivers, empty the backfield.
Well, and that's another thing, Neil, that I don't think have focused on a lot tonight, is that Wekiva being down to their 3rd quarterback in this game.
Yeah, again,
you just don't have the experience to have options.
Yeah.
Your playbook is going to be no matter how well you do or don't execute the mechanics of each play, just the number of plays that you're able to develop proficiency and to play at the varsity level is going to be limited when you're in a personnel situation like this.
Yeah, Jaden Robinson getting the start tonight for Wekiva on the QB, and he's not just the third
Jaden
quarterback.
Donaldson, wide receiver, making a carry on that one, and that puts the ball at the 30-yard line. Gain of 8, 3rd and 12.
Yeah, Robinson, not just the third quarterback, but he's a JV quarterback. As West drops back, finds his man along the right sideline, 40, and score the touchdown, 30, 20, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just that quickly, the secondary makes a mistake, and the lead grows to 20-0, 119 first quarter.
Pass is complete to Zytrez Irvin, and that is into the end zone for a DP touchdown.
70 yards.
70-yard touchdown completion for Irvin.
So we will see for the third time in the first period, Federico Montalvo Salazar looking to make that lead 21-0, and no problem. 119 remaining.
Flag on the play.
No problem with the kick.
Personal foul called against the Mustang defense. The try is good, and so the penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. Makes it a 21-0 game with 1 minute 19 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Well, so far, Neil, Wekiva here having flashbacks to the Edgewater game in week 1.
Yeah, and to a lesser degree, West Orange and even Horizon. Really every game but Eustis last week. Those flashbacks, at least to some degree.
So now Dr. Phillips has really an opportunity here, thanks to that personal foul penalty, to pin Wekiva deep in their own territory. If anything, the kicker here, Federico Montalvo Salazar, is going to have to be careful not to deliver a touchback. Because, of course, remember, a kickoff cannot go out of bounds. A punt can, but a kickoff must stay in bounds, so you can't just throw it to the side. And there it goes. Looks like that one's going to easily clear the end zone. Almost scored a field goal there. No, I mean, obviously not really. Federico Montalvo Salazar's kick is into the end zone for a touchback. That means the Mustangs will take over from their own 20-yard line with 1st and 10.
So Wekiva will go back to work now, trailing 21-0. And again, Mark, we haven't said nearly as much in this game because DP just moves. There's such a fluid offense in terms of the pace. But this is a young and inexperienced team, and we're seeing that tonight. Just when they put together a couple plays, looks like they're getting some momentum building, some semblance of being able to hang their hats, so to speak, something they can build from. They then make a colossal mistake, and next thing you know, there's another touchdown on the board. Robinson, incomplete pass. Bring up 2nd and 10 from the Wekiva 20-yard line. And of course,
pass intended for number 18. Kaysen falls incomplete. That'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Mustangs from their own 20.
And so, Mark, we haven't directly talked about this, but you did at least allude to it. Wekiva, to give them credit, or to be fair to them, they are playing one of the more challenging schedules in the entire state, playing Edgewater, West Orange, Horizon, Houston, and Dr. Phillips. Certainly Edgewater, West Orange, and Dr. Phillips qualify as consistent playoff contenders. As we mentioned a couple of times, Dr. Phillips always a state championship contender, and you're certainly seeing that tonight. Going back to my original point as we get the offside call.
False start is called against the Mustang offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, and a replay of second down.
You know, you play playoff contenders in Edgewater and West Orange. One of the reasons that playoff contenders are because they take advantage of teams' mistakes. Obvious mistakes are the penalties, the turnovers, but Wekiva, as you just saw in that last touchdown, they blew the coverage, a missed assignment. But then it becomes even more magnified with Dr. Phillips, because again, Dr. Phillips doesn't just expect to make the playoffs, they expect to make long runs into the playoffs. They've made it to the state semifinals 6, 7, 8 times. Again, I do not know the exact amount, but if you follow high school football in Florida, you know Dr. Phillips is a name that comes up quite frequently when they get down to the semifinals.
Chris Jones on the carry, Torrey Scott on the stop. That's good for a pickup of 7 yards. And puts the ball at the Mustang 22-yard line for 3rd and 8.
So Wekiva at least getting those 5 yards back on the penalty. They will be looking at 3rd and inside 10. And so plays like that, Mark, again, those are the plays that Wekiva needs to execute. You know, those are the step 1 plays which Wekiva is at right now with its youth and inexperience. This year, I believe we only had 2 starters on both offense and defense with any varsity experience, to just give you an idea of how young and inexperienced Wekiva is.
That takes us to the end of the first quarter. 21-0 your score at the end of 12 minutes. Here from Mustang Field in week number 5 of season 19. Back with more in a moment.
And about to start the second period from Mustang Field. Wekiva, the homestanding team, down 21-0, and they're facing 3rd and 8. That's Robinson, the 3rd different starter at quarterback for Wekiva. He'll try to make something happen on the quarterback draw. It does pick up about 3 yards, but
Jane
again,
Robinson on the carry
5.
for the Mustangs with QB keeper. No gain on the play. Brings up 4th and 8. Excuse me, 4th and 2 for the Mustangs.
So the ball at the Wekiva 28-yard line, and down 21-0 and a 1-3 record. Coach Gabriel is throwing caution to the wind. He's just going to roll the dice here and try to pick up that first down instead of punting. Needing only 2 yards. So, and actually it's 4th and 5. No, it is 4th and 2, excuse me. One back set for Wekiva. Robinson running it out of that one back set. The handoff swings around to the left side, and a nice play by Wekiva. Not just the running back, Jones, but also that right side.
For the Mustangs, Jesse Valdez had to stop for the Panthers, but not before. Jones gets to the 36-yard line for a gain of 8 yards and a Mustang first down.
And most importantly, Mark, that builds some momentum for Wekiva. Of course, Wekiva did venture deep into Wekiva or DP territory on their last possession. They got all the way down to the 11-yard line. It was the fumble that brought that possession to an end. And now the mistake again as the offensive line collapses and Robinson goes down. That's going to be a big loss. It's going to take them beyond the line of scrimmage.
Robinson is sacked by DeMarco Henderson III. That pulls the ball back to the 27-yard line of Mustang territory.
That's a 9-yard loss, and more importantly, now 2nd and 19. So Wekiva, as we've mentioned, young and inexperienced, not really in a position to consistently overcome these long distances. You know, it's not just like long distance like 7, 8, 9 yards. It's now past 10 yards. As they go back, one back set, 2 receivers each side out of the shotgun. And the incomplete pass with 9:34 remaining.
Pass falls incomplete. That'll bring up 3rd and 19 for the Mustangs from their own 27-yard line.
So another critical down for Wekiva. Trying to go from step 1 to step 2. And 21-0 deficit now, and they'll catch another break. There's a penalty. I did not see a flag mark or the call, but it is going to put them back at 3rd and looks like about 6 yards. Wekiva, that is. So the ball will be back at the
15-yard penalty is called against the Panthers. That'll bring up 3rd and 4 for the Mustangs.
And they'll
make it 2nd and 4.
powerful run from that right side. Just what Wekiva needed. Built some momentum again. Great job of blocking on that right side of the offensive line, and Wekiva back in DP territory. 2nd consecutive possession.
Isaiah McNish on the carry for the Mustangs. DeMarco Henderson III had to stop, but not before McNish gets into Panther territory to the 42-yard line for Mustang. First down.
A 16-yard gain for Wekiva. And of course, if you've been following Wekiva over the last several years, Isaiah McNish, a familiar name, as now Jerome takes it, slides out to that left, a little juke and jive, and he leans forward, get an extra yard.
On the carry for the Mustangs. He's got the ball down to the 39, make it the 40-yard line for a pickup of 2. 2nd and 8 coming up for Wekiva.
So Wekiva, along with the last possession, even though they're down 21-0, showing some semblance of hard-charging, powerful offense. Again, it was the turnover which ended their last possession at the 9-yard line, a fumble. It was not DP stopping them. And DP unable to stop them so far on this possession. Of course, they did do some self-inflicted damage on that 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty, as we now get a flag.
Marbury on the field prior to the snap. Ball start called against the Mustang offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. And a replay of 2nd down.
So, Mark, I guess the good news is that 5 yards is still 10 yards better than the penalty that DP committed, but still 5 yards is 5 yards and moves the ball backwards, and now you're looking at having to regain that just to get back inside the 10-yard distance.
2nd and 13 now coming up for Wekiva. And you can also see the difference in the playing tempo. Wekiva is huddling, using up pretty much all of the play clock after each snap, which shouldn't come as a great surprise. It turns out even that's not going to be enough this time. The Mustangs request their first timeout of the first half. So Wekiva obviously still working to gel together as their personnel continues to shift. And they're using a JV quarterback, which is a series of quarterbacks from beyond the 2nd string, and shows on that possession of this series of plays here. We'll be back in just a moment.
Back to live action. Wekiva facing a 3rd and 13. Another critical play for the young and inexperienced Mustangs against Dr. Phillips. They trail 21-0. Robinson out of the shotgun, rolls right, now goes back left, back to the right, trying to avoid the sack. And I believe he fumbled the ball as well as losing about 25 yards. And boy, you just feel like the weight of the world is collapsing on Wekiva now. Again, it just keeps happening over and over. They put together a couple of plays where they can build some momentum and they can build do some building on it, and then just they fall apart on the next play.
Sack by Jaden Buckhannon causes a fumble. However, Chooks was able to get in there and save it for the Mustangs, and so that puts the ball at the 37-yard line. Wekiva will retain possession of the ball. It is a loss of 12 on the play, and it brings up 3rd and 31 for the Mustangs.
So, yeah, Neil, exactly what you said. I mean, you take the worst possible situation and then somehow make it worse. At that point, you just eat it and fall on it. Or throw it away or something, anything, other than running backwards and pumping.
Yeah, that's a situation, and you give Robinson credit. I understand he was trying to make something, but there's really nothing that he could have done in that situation.
Chris Jones on the carry that gets the ball to the 39-yard line for a gain of 2, and that'll bring up 4th and 29.
And that's where the inexperience comes in. You just have to learn through experience. There's just times when you just have to live to fight another day. And Robinson did not understand that, trying to make something out of absolutely nothing. And again, it wasn't that his heart was in the right place, but you have to understand when you're just, you can't make something out of nothing. 3 defensive linemen were all over him.
So now the Mustangs will line up to punt. See how this goes. And this play is over before it started.
So a young and inexperienced Wekiva team coming in with a 1-3 record. The good
Official
news is
timeout. We've reached the midpoint of the second quarter, and so we will pause for the official timeout. 21-0 is your score with 5 minutes 24 seconds remaining in the first half.
So the good news for Wekiva is that victory did come last week against Eustis, their first of the season. Bad news is we're back to some of these not just playoff contenders, but teams expected to make long runs into the playoffs. Looking ahead, next week is Oviedo. That will be at home. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. Of course, Oviedo also a district rival. Wekiva and Oviedo in 6A, Class 6A, District 4. Then Evans, they hit the road on October 10th. They have their bye week on October 3rd. And then the season closes out against Jones, Lake Howell, and Apopka, a.k.a. the Tartar Bowl. So even moving forward, you only have one team. That's Lake Howell. That's at the same stage where Wekiva is, which is basically starting from scratch. All those other teams are, at the very least, playoff contenders every year. And a bad snap and a bad punt. I believe that was Robinson trying to kick the ball.
Jaden Robinson's punt is spotted at the 43-yard line. Pick up a 4 from the previous line of scrimmage. Dr. Phillips will take over from there.
So Dr. Phillips continues that trend of opponents getting excellent field position to start with. And as Mark had mentioned a couple of times, DP, no huddle. They have a quick pace in terms of snapping that ball. One back set. And this time Wekiva's defense up to the challenge. Collapsing. I believe that was Matthews. He kept churning his legs, but nowhere to go.
Carry. That'll be a loss of 2 for the Panthers. Ball spotted at the 45-yard line, 2nd and 12.
Again, this hurry-up offense by the Panthers. For most teams, that's the kind of thing you see when you're behind in the fourth quarter, not DP.
Ryan Matthews again on the carry. That is down to the 37-yard line of Mustang territory. They pick up a late 3rd and 4 coming up to DP.
Yeah, Mark, and again, that is the underpinning.
It's 3rd down.
DP's defense has always been designed to pick up yardage after the initial contact and catch. And this quick pace, the underpinnings of that success, as there's a flag. Meanwhile, rolling is West, throws it across his body, finds his man at the 5, and an easy touchdown. But we'll have to see what the penalty
Pass
is.
is complete to Zytrus Irvin for a touchdown, pending the outcome of the penalty marker.
And here you can see, as we watch the instant replay, how much trouble that Williams was in and somehow still managed to get this play turned around. Now, it may or may not count. We're going to see what we get from the official here.
Holding is called against both teams. Those penalties offset, but it does negate the play. And so we'll still have 3rd and 4. The touchdown does not score, but the ball will not move in either direction.
And the ball will remain at the Wekiva 37-yard line.
So, boy, I'll tell you what, Neil, that helped Wekiva a lot more than it helps DP. Offsetting penalties are not always a draw.
Along that right sideline, up and over, and
pass complete to Jordan Guy, and there is a penalty marker in the backfield.
Guy number 19, the 6'2" junior wide receiver, certainly showed him using his frame there, and it is against Wekiva, the penalty.
Personal foul is called against the Mustangs. That puts the ball at the 25-yard line. And it's DP 1st down.
I don't know that signal after the personal foul specified. Looked like an intentional grounding signal, but it's obviously not that.
So Williams lines his team up again. And the short
Screen to
screen.
Jaden Smith. Now that'll put the ball inside the 10-yard line. Stop made by Elijah Jean, among others. Ball is at the 8-yard line. That'll be a pickup of 17, and it brings up 1st and goal for DP.
And Dr. Phillips continues to pound that ball after the initial contact or reception. This time, Wekiva's defense rises up. No gain.
Zion Matthews on the carry, and a loss of 1 on the play. Puts the ball at the 9-yard line, 2nd and goal.
No huddle, 1 back, 4 receivers in motion up high. And now Williams will step forward, and he was cut down, gained about 5 yards though. Well, actually it was about 3 yards. It'll set up 3rd and medium from the 5. So also want to point out too, Mark, again.
Williams on the carry. That puts the ball at the 6-yard line. Pick up a 3, 3rd and 6, 3rd and goal from the 6.
DP's offense is designed to carry, to gain the majority of the yards after that initial contact or the reception. But that can also wear a team down if you get 2 or 3 plays, as we have a timeout, 2 or 3 plays in a row where they gain big yards after the initial contact or reception. Wear a team down emotionally when they're consistently gaining those big yards after the initial reception or contact. And I think we're starting to see that here with Wekiva. Drive began at the 42-yard line. Wekiva made a couple of plays early to put DP in a 3rd and
Panthers request their
medium.
first timeout of the second quarter of the first half.
DP facing a couple of third and mediums, but they were able to gain yardage after the initial contact, once on a run and then the initial reception on a pass. And suddenly DP's down at the 6-yard line, knocking on that goal line. So 3rd and goal from the Wekiva 6. Defense needs to come up with a stop. 3:01 remaining, first quarter. DP 21-0 lead. They scored on their first 3 possessions. DP in their traditional powder blue with white jerseys. A handoff to Matthews. He shakes, he bakes. Nice little juke and jive. And he's down by that goal line. No, it's not a goal. It's not a touchdown. But certainly Wekiva in a on their heel situation. Ball down all the way at that 1-yard line. It'll be 4th goal. And of course, Coach Wells. Oh, excuse me, it was a touchdown. And the PAT added by Federico Montalvo Salazar. So give Matthews the 6 yards in the TD again. Please remember that we do have a skeleton crew here at high school. We have a couple of our broadcast production students helping us out, but we do not have spotters, and sometimes it can be difficult to see those yard lines. I did not see the referee put his hands up for the touchdown, but obviously it was after they came in for the PAT attempt. So 2:55 remaining in the first half. 28-0 lead for Dr. Phillips, looking to up its record to 4-1. Wekiva coming in at 1-3, looking for a second consecutive win for the first time in about 2 seasons. Looking ahead for Dr. Phillips, they will be taking on Olympia. That's always a good game. 2 teams that, as I mentioned, Dr. Phillips, a state championship contender, always expecting not just to qualify for the playoffs, but to take a long run into the playoffs as the flop kick. And I couldn't see who that was, but it went straight through his arms, catching him off balance. And I'm not sure who came up with that, who will be on offense. 2:51 remaining. But that will be always a good game when Olympia and DP play. Olympia certainly a few stages ahead of Wekiva. They're always looking to get into the playoffs, a consistent contender. Of course, Wekiva and Olympia played in the preseason. That's also Doug Gabriel, Wekiva's coach's brother, Travis, the head coach at Olympia. As Wekiva did recover that fumble, and they take over 1st and 10 at their own 44-yard line. So Wekiva does get strong starting field position. They'll hand it off, attack that left side, rambling up, about a 6-yard gain. So exactly what you want on first down as we drop under 2.5 minutes in the first quarter. Mustang Field the site. Continuing to look at DP's schedule as Wekiva will now be facing 2nd and 3. Ball at the DP 49-yard line. After Olympia's Eastridge on the 10th, they get their bye on October 3rd. Then they take on Edgewater Celebration in West Orange to close out the season. Out of the shotgun, the handoff. No, there was a play action, and down goes Robinson, and he went down quickly.
Robinson on the play action is tackled quickly. That puts the ball at the 45-yard line.
So Wekiva gaining 6 yards on the first play and then losing 6 yards. And everybody back to your assigned positions when this possession began. That being Wekiva's 44-yard line in 3rd and 10. as we now drop under a minute and a half in this first half. Robinson comes in with the play, and actually the ball, it's 3rd and 9 actually. So a 5-yard loss officially, not quite 6. See if Wekiva can get another first down. Certainly at the very least you want to end this first half with possession. You don't want DP to gain it, as there was movement on the DP side.
That ball, delay of game called against the Mustangs. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, and a replay of 3rd down.
So now 3rd and 14, and again, there are the obvious mistakes of youth and inexperience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Neil. You see it there with, you see how fast DP is running their plays. They're going no huddle between most plays. They're maybe only using 5 or 10 seconds out of their 40-second play clock. Wekiva, meanwhile, is using up their whole play clock and then calling a timeout or getting a delay of game penalty. And again, I don't want to make it sound like this is, just Wekiva's gross incompetence. That's not what I mean at all. They're just in a position where they're not set up for success. With all the personnel changes, as now we get a
false start penalty called against the Mustangs. That's another 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Puts the ball at the 35-yard line, now 3rd and 19.
So again, same thing here, Neil. Not ready to play, not in position, not synchronized. And again, that is a function of you're dipping into JV players, you're dipping into 3rd string, you're dipping into players who have, this might as well be the spring classic or the preseason classic for the amount of experience that these players have playing with each other against elite opponents on the varsity level.
Yeah, as we mentioned, Wekiva has had a very challenging schedule. Only one team, Eustis, not in the playoffs in the last couple of years, and of course, DP, though, even higher than the average playoff team.
Pass intended for Xavier Gates falls incomplete.
And so
and
now
that will bring up 4th and long for the Mustangs.
So now
falling closer
57
to
seconds.
DP than it did to Wekiva.
Yeah, 57 seconds remaining. So I'm Neil Fisher. The other voice you're hearing is Mark Barchi. He's also our public address announcer, the only public address announcer Wekiva community has ever known. And then manning our cameras are the broadcast production students. We do thank them for coming out. We also thank you for joining us on this Friday night. Of course, as we were just alluding to, going below the surface, not the easiest broadcast or season to stomach if you're a Wekiva fan, but we do appreciate you still tuning in and following the team as Robinson under duress again rolls right, and this time he's going to eat the ball. Does gain a couple of yards, I think.
Robinson on the carry. Jaden Buckhannon has the stop for DP and is well short of the necessary yardage, so that will turn the ball over on downs to the Panthers.
And of course, the last time that we saw Robinson try to kick it, went 4 yards. So, that was better than 4 yards. So I get it why you go for it on 4th down and spite the long odds there.
Ball spotted at the 42-yard line. DP takes over from there with 1st and 10.
So DP.
I hear the sounds of Somewhere Over the Rainbow being warmed up in the background. I believe that is Dr. Phillips' show. So we'll see that second. Wekiva's band will take the field first.
So
we get into our
DP with 4 possessions in this first half, scoring on all 4 of them. And they might just make it 5 in a row, motoring ahead. That
Short
was
shuttle to
Matthews.
Xavion Mincy, and that'll put the ball down to the 34-yard line, look at the 35-yard line of Mustang territory. Gain of 7 on the play, 2nd and 3 coming up for DP.
And DP not playing like a team that's just going to run out the clock for halftime. They're still doing that same no-huddle, high-intensity offense.
Pass intended for Jaden Smith is incomplete, and that will bring up 3rd and 3.
Neil, I tell you what, if Smith catches that, it's a touchdown. That's just a little bit off target there, but the play was well designed.
20 seconds remaining in the first half. As you heard Mark say, 3rd and 3. Continuing, they empty the backfield, go to 5 receivers, seen that a number of times tonight. And this time, Williams unable to find his mark. Did have a receiver there if he could have gotten the right arch on that distance, but give Wekiva secondary credit. They converged at the right moment, and now 4th and 3 with 14 seconds remaining from DP.
Pass intended for Irvin falls incomplete. That brings up 4th and 3 for the Panthers.
And Neil, I mean, you got options here. You could punt it and pin Wekiva at the 1-yard line. You could try for the field goal if you've got a soccer player on your team, or you just go for it. I mean, what do you have to lose?
Yeah, they're going to hand it off.
It's going to be good for the first down and a little bit more.
Yeah, nice run there.
Handoff is made to Tien Williams, and that is down to the 20-yard line for a Panther first down.
15-yard gain.
And the Panthers will request a timeout. Ball officially at the 19-yard line for a gain of 16.
We'll be right back.
It wasn't a different Williams.
That was 15. I don't know. I was trying to fix the sound system when they did that. I don't think we did. Did the try was no good? It was good?
7 seconds remaining in the first half. Dr. Phillips already holding a 28-0 lead, even though they're on the road against Wekiva. And Wekiva just trying to get out of this half, keeping that score at 28-0. As Williams takes the snap, drops back. He's got lots of time. Now the pocket collapsed, drops back again, and finds his man right at the goal line. And an easy touchdown. Secondary missed assignment, and we'll go
Pass
into the
complete to Jaden Smith for the Panther touchdown. As time expires, the extra point is relevant here, so despite the fact that time has expired, we will play the try.
And Neil, what's at stake here is if this try is good, then we're going to do the entire second half under a running clock. So, no pressure on Federico Montalvo Salazar here, but the entire DP fan base's bedtime is dependent on his foot right here.
Well, at least when they decide to go back home.
And the try is good, and so that makes the DP lead 35-0 as the clock expires on the first half. Don't go anywhere. Halftime performances coming up in just a moment.
So Dr. Phillips, as we mentioned, if you're unfamiliar, if you're just beginning to follow high school football in Florida, of course, DP always a state championship contender, not just a playoff contender. 2017 state championship, they've gone at least a half a dozen times to the state semifinals, and certainly they were the favorites coming in tonight, despite losing their opening game to Atlantic, 3-1 record. Wekiva 1-3, young, inexperienced, trying to move from building from the ground up, and everything has gone according to script. 5 possessions for Dr. Phillips, 5 touchdowns, starting with moving the ball 45 yards on the first drive, a couple of touchdowns. 1 touchdown and a fumble recovery, the other set up by a turnover, and just in general a 3-1 advantage in total yards. And now we'll have our
Now
halftime
taking the
show.
field is the 2025 Dr. Phillips High School Panther Band. The principal of Dr. Phillips High School is Jackie Ramsey. Your band directors are Sarah Lightbody and Jonathan Money. Percussion instructors are Evan Carville, Emmeline Kaloa, and Dylan Sons. Color guard instructors are Sabine Francois, Marla McGarvey, and Tiffany Tran. Drum majors are Jenna Ice, Evelyn Hyatt, McKenna Ward, and Jasper Butler. The band will be performing their 2025 halftime show entitled Beyond the Rainbow, featuring music from The Wizard of Oz, The Wiz, and Wicked, arranged by Robert Bosma.
Turn up the field at the sound of the field.
Drum majors, is your band ready? Please welcome the 2025 Dr. Phillips High School Panther Band.
Once again, our thanks to the Dr. Phillips High School Marching Band and their performance of Beyond the Rainbow.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I bring to you the Four Horsemen. From 2501 in the beautiful city of Apopka, Florida. Please welcome one of the most imitated bands in Florida. The fabulous, fantastic, marvelous, wonderful, superior, the Wekiva High School Mighty Marching Mustangs Band. We would like to take this opportunity to thank the Dr. Phillips High School Marching Band for joining us this evening. The Wekiva High School Mighty Marching Mustang Band will be doing a multimedia drill featuring artists such as Robin Thicke, Usher, and we pay special tribute to the artist known as Angie Stone. We'd like to take this time to congratulate our very own Director of Bands, Mr. Jonte Petty, as he's been selected as the 2025-2026 Teacher of the Year for Wekiva High School. We would also like to congratulate the Wekiva High School Mighty Marching Mustang Band as they have been selected to participate at the Bethune-Cookman Homecoming Parade and Postgame Show on October 25th in Daytona Beach, Florida. We also like to congratulate them as well as they have been selected as one of the 10 high school bands to participate in the Florida Blue Battle of the Bands at the Florida Classic against Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M University's band. The first time in the school's history. The Wekiva High School Marching Mustang Band is traveling to New Orleans, Louisiana on December 29th through January 2nd. Participating in the Sugar Bowl, Battle of the Bands and Parade. We are kindly asking for donations to help to take the entire band. Ticket price is $180,000. Please come and support the Marching Mustang Band. The Marching Mustang Band is under the direction of the maestro, Mr. Jonte Petty. Color guard instructor is Mr. Michael McKee. Assistant color guard instructor is Miss Nikki Petty. Assistant color guard instructor is Miss Jan Brown. Percussion instructor is Mr. DJ Johnson. Once again, please give it up for the Wekiva High School Mighty Marching Mustang Band from Apopka, Florida. And this has been another Mustang production.
As we bring things back into the press box here, Neil, this is, I think, what Mustang Nation might have feared was going to happen coming into tonight's game, hoping that perhaps against hope there was some emergency eject, some way that the stars could have aligned, that Wekiva would have been able to adapt to the powerhouse machine that is Dr. Phillips, but in the end, the inexperience of this team, and again, I don't want to make it sound like Wekiva is grossly incompetent or in some way is just deficient and not trying. They are simply dealing with a bad hand right now. They have relatively few seniors on the team. Those seniors in leadership positions that they had are unable to play for injuries and various reasons. And so here we are with what is essentially a hybrid JV varsity program because of the circumstances they find themselves in, playing against a school that very much expects to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, Mark, and we've talked about throughout the whole night from when we first came on the air. I really don't know if there's anything else I can add to what you said. In short, Wekiva came into the season with basically a JV team. One thing I can add to further maybe pontificate or describe Wekiva's plight. Last year we had, I think, 7 or 8 starters who did have some varsity experience. This year it was even less. We only had 3 or 4 starters who had any varsity experience. None of those starters had ever had any experience starting. And as you just mentioned, what little bit of experience we did have went by the wayside between of injuries and personal circumstances. We are on our 3rd different quarterback. To your point again, Jaden Robinson, the quarterback starting tonight. It's not that he's incompetent. He's just never started a varsity game until 3 days ago. He was expecting to be the JV starter for the rest of the season and take his lumps and bruises at the JV level and then come up next year. Then you throw in the fact that they've had a very difficult, challenging schedule. Only one of the teams, Horizon, did not go to the playoffs last year, but even the 3 other teams they faced, 4 if you include the preseason, Olympia, West Orange, Edgewater, and those are teams that each year are expected to contend for a playoff spot. Dr. Phillips doesn't contend for playoff berth. They contend for state championship, so it even goes up a couple more levels. And you have a 35-0 we will lead. We will go with the running clock throughout the second half. 35-point lead or more in the second half. The clock continues to run. It only will stop between the 3rd and 4th quarters, as well as any timeouts. A 229-70 advantage for DP in total yards. Wekiva's fumbled the ball twice. They've also given up a fumble recovery. Your scoring drives, 55, 90, 42, and 42 for DP. They also got a defensive touchdown off of one of those fumbles. Matthews going 5 yards, putting up 7-0, 10-40 first quarter. 9-17 Taylor with that fumble recovery. He rambled 33 yards, 14-0. 1:19 third quarter. West, the starting quarterback, to Irvin, 30 yards, 21-0 second quarter. It was 2:55 before halftime. Matthews blasts through the defensive line, 6 yards, 28-0. And the last play of the first half, no time remaining. Williams, the backup quarterback, to Smith, a 20-yard pass to make it 35-0. Again, Wekiva was hoping against hope that maybe we would at least be within 2 or 3 touchdowns, but I think if anybody was to bet on this game, which of course we do not condone it, but just to make the point, I don't think anybody would bet against a 35-0 lead at halftime.
Amir Prince has the return for the Mustangs to open up the 3rd quarter. And that's going to put the ball at the 40-yard line. The Mustangs will take over from there with 1st and 10.
And yeah, Neil, I don't want to spend the whole time. I mean, obviously we are the house announcers for Wekiva, so we have a stronger Wekiva point of view than we do for DP. But I don't want to spend the whole time talking about the deficiencies and the poor circumstances that Wekiva comes into this game. DP has been doing what needs to be done and is frankly playing like a week 8 or week 10 team here in week 5. To
sum up into your point,
Chooks on the carry, and it's going to be a loss of 9, 2nd and 19.
DP has come in here tonight and not just taking care of business, but they have taken care of the business which you would expect them to take care of from a team, again, that expects to make long runs into the postseason.
I mean, you saw it from
they have made very few mistakes.
From the outset, most teams...
Okay, so we just got word. So we did just get word that Devin Sessler, who I imagine is related, again, one of those things we did not have time to check before, but of course, if you do follow Wekiva, you know Justin Sessler was our #1 quarterback, injured in last week's game about 30 seconds before halftime. So,
but yeah, as I started to say, from the very, very beginning of the game, at least anecdotally, I don't have stats on this, but anecdotally, most teams who win the toss choose to defer because they want to have the ball when they know what this situation is. Not Dr. Phillips. They wanted the ball first. They wanted to have the ball. They wanted to do something with the ball. They wanted to make a statement on their first drive. And when the clock was running out at the end of the first half, up by 28, they played like it was the fourth quarter and they were down. And you see the speed and the tempo that their offense plays as we get
The run by Chris Jones as we get the first down, followed by another run of 2 yards. And that'll bring up 2nd and 8 from the 48 in DP territory.
yeah, Mark, and to further elaborate that, of course, I can do this because I've been covering high school football for 40 years. And, of course, Rodney Wells has been the coach for 15 years now. This is his 16th season as quarterback. Robinson just bowls ahead. Give him credit, man. He looked like about 3 times he was going to go down and kept those legs churning. He'll wind up gaining
Robinson
about
on the carry, Jesse Valdez on the stop. That's a pickup of 8 yards. Brings the ball down to the 42-yard line. 3rd and 2 coming up.
But what I was going to say is Dr. Phillips' style and philosophy and design is pretty much throughout those 40 years that I've been covering high school football remained the same. We're seeing what they've been doing for the last 40 years. And that is, again, they're not, when they run the offense.
Number 0, Isaiah McNish on the carry for the Mustangs. That puts the ball at the 33-yard line. That's a gain of 9, and it's enough for Mustang. First down.
Dr. Phillips does not necessarily run each play quickly. It's the quickness between each play. They snap that ball quickly, as this is not going to go anywhere. And that is their design. And that goes well with their overall at the surface goal.
Chris Jones on the carry. A stop made by Stephen Nicholas Jr. And that is going to be for no gain. 2nd and 10 coming up.
And that goal is to do the damage in terms of yard gain after the initial contact or after a reception. And so, of course, that plays, again, that quickness with which they snap the ball plays into that goal at the surface level. And now we see the first pass of the second half. Nice pass from Robinson. So I would say this, and actually, excuse me, that is Sessler who's the quarterback, not Robinson. But I was going to say, I
Pass
think
complete to Dominique Walker. Stop made by Donnie Daniels. 3rd and 1.
And now Wekiva going to the no huddle. There's a power ahead. That's Jerome. Nothing fancy there on those left hash marks. Lower the shoulder and follow your defensive or offensive line. Nice job by both running back in defense and offensive line. So
Ball spotted at the 21-yard line. That will be good for a Mustang. First down on the carry by Jones.
So Neil, I'm not quite sure what to make of this. I'm trying to determine because I don't have the depth chart in front of me, and nor do I have a good view on this. But whether Dr. Phillips has changed a lot of personnel from the first half and is putting their second stringers, maybe their folks who have a little bit less experience in the game. I don't know if that's the case here. I also don't know if it's the case that Wekiva went into the locker rooms and suddenly figured out how to play against Dr. Phillips. But certainly this offensive drive, perhaps too little too late, but you like to see it. I mean, what you don't want to see here is Wekiva just spiral out of control.
yeah, just bury their head between their legs and shrug their shoulders.
Flag on the play. Prior to the snap, false start called against the Mustang offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. And a replay of first down.
So yeah, Neil, like I said, one way or the other, call it DP backing off, call it Wekiva gelling and figuring some things out, call it whatever you want, but regardless of whether this ultimately, pulls off some kind of miracle where Wekiva comes back from 7 touchdowns with a running clock, which obviously has pretty long odds on it, you like to see this. You like to see Wekiva keeping their heads in the game. You like to see them wanting to find some success that they can go back to the game film, go in the locker room over the course of this week as we get a
Run by number 0, Isaiah McNish, for a gain of 11 yards. That puts the ball at the 14-yard line. Brings up 3rd and a long 3.
But that gives you something that you can build on, because if you go back and you look at the game film and the only thing you have to say as a coach is, well, do the opposite of everything that happened there, that's not really helpful. It's not something that you can
it's not motivating.
When you're looking toward Oviedo, who, by the way, is no walk in the park either, but when you're looking toward Oviedo next week and trying to get ready for that, you want to be able to point to, okay, here's some things that really went poorly, and here's why they went poorly, and here's what we're going to change about it so that doesn't happen again. But you also need to be able to say, here's something that went well, as we get a
timeout Mustangs.
Here's something that went well that we can build on, that we want to latch onto that and say, this is something that we want to see repeated. This is something that we want to build on. This is something that we want to build that muscle memory. And so regardless of whether it ultimately changes the WL columns of tonight's game, this is good news for Wekiva that they are not essentially falling on the sword at this point.
No. And again, that, to your bigger point, Mark, is just the idea or what a team is supposed to do is progress as the season progresses. And certainly if your heads are hung low, if you're still thinking that we didn't do anything right in that last game, you're not going to make that progression. 3:31 remaining. Dr. Phillips with the 35-0 lead. Also want to point out, I didn't get a chance to do this when I was recapping, resetting at the start of this half. As that ball's intercepted. Bad throw, bad decision. And that was Jeremiah Fort, who was just in the right place, right time. Got right in front of the receiver. And Wekiva's opportunity goes by the wayside. And that's what I was actually going to say, Mark, is that Wekiva did drive into DP territory. They even went as far as the 11-yard line on their second possession, and then 2 fumbles ended those possessions. Now make that 3 turnovers. In fairness to Sessler, he was in a bad situation, and again, there's your young and inexperienced trying to force the ball into a secondary a combination of 3 defensive backs and cornerbacks.
Ball is intercepted. DP takes over with 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line.
And so DP goes back to work. Of course, now I think their main goal is running out this clock and getting out of Mustang Field without any injuries.
Well, remember, they don't have to do anything in particular as far as play selection to run out the clock. But, yeah, and I mean, we saw this happen in the first half as well, where Wekiva was knocking on the door of pulling off, not an upset win for the game, but at least an upset win for the possession. They were just on the verge of doing that and then had the turnover in the red zone. And now on the first offensive drive of the second half, we see, unfortunately, the same outcome for the Mustangs. And now we're going to get another timeout.
Yeah, and again, I just want to point
Mustangs
out that
request their second timeout of the second half.
While Sessler was the player, the quarterback throws the ball, it didn't look good. It was not all on him. His offensive line did not give him the kind of protection that a quarterback needs. So going back to that first half, of course, it was a 7-0 lead. The first fumble by Wekiva made it 14-0. It was a 33-yard return by Finks Taylor, the defensive lineman. And that was a miscue by Wekiva. It looked like they were trying to throw a screen pass, but the ball was actually thrown behind the receiver, which of course then becomes a lateral, and the receiver did not realize that it was a fumble. Taylor picked it up as we get a flag and just rambled for the 42 yards. The other fumble, which was on the next possession, that was 9:17 in the first quarter, the fumble return. That second one came, Wekiva was actually, the line of scrimmage was 11, but the ball was fumbled at the 5.
Penalty is against the Panthers. That puts the ball at the 14-yard line. Brings up 2nd and 16.
And again, Mark, as you pointed out, I think perhaps DP still is perhaps not the better teams in terms of the quality of talent or the level of talent, but certainly in understanding how to win and how to play the game and be able to accomplish your goals that you need to in order to win the game. Of course, DP, as I mentioned.
Pass on the carry. It's got on the stop. And that'll put the ball to 31 for a DP first down.
DP's goal on the surface is to do their damage, gain the yards after the initial contact, and on the passes after the catch. And I think DP certainly is the better team in that aspect. But Wekiva certainly had an opportunity to at least provide something of a challenge tonight. They've had 3 drives going into the DP territory, and every time Wekiva, all 3 of those drives, which would certainly change the feel of this game, the texture, the strategy, they've ended in turnovers.
Flag on the play. Illegal substitution on the Mustangs.
So we move
5-yard penalty from the previous spot, a replay 2nd down, and time has expired on the 3rd quarter. And so, with a 35-0 score that remains unchanged since halftime, DP will have 2nd and short after we switch sides for the last time of tonight's game. For those of you here in the stadium, we want to remind you that we are headed into the 4th quarter. And it is a running clock situation, so when we say 12 minutes, we mean 12 minutes. So if you are depending on a ride to get home from tonight's game and you have not already made that phone call, make sure you give them a call and let them know that they need to be on their way to pick you up so that our administrators can close the facility and get home to their families promptly after the conclusion of tonight's game. We appreciate your cooperation. Those of you listening online, obviously you don't have to worry about that, but you do need to mark your calendars for next week. The Mustangs host the Oviedo Lions, September 26th, and that is homecoming. So get here early. A presentation of the homecoming court, the crowning of the king and queen at halftime. Bands will perform after the game. A great tradition here at Mustang Field, and so we hope that you will join us for that. Meanwhile, though, your next opportunity to catch anybody at home is going to be volleyball. They have their in memoriam game against Ocoee on September 25th. That is next Thursday.
And in the meantime, JP keeps the ball on the ground.
Wekiva is signaling that they have it.
Yeah, they're coming off the field like they have it as well.
There's a fumble on the play. And the Mustangs have recovered. That puts the ball at the 39-yard line of DP territory. And Wekiva takes over from there with 1st and 10 and their first offensive possession. Nope, strike that. The ball did start to come loose, but DP was able to recover on the correct side.
You know what, I'm going to stop talking until the referee signals something because the teams don't seem to know what side of the field they're playing on. So I'm going to wait until they figure that out before I keep talking. There it is. Okay.
So it is, in fact, Mustangs ball, and it is on the 39-yard line.
Pay no attention to what direction the players were lined up. They did not notice that we had moved on to the fourth quarter and switched sides, which maybe that's why DP fumbled the ball in the first place, because they didn't know what direction they were going.
In either case, this is the fourth time tonight Wekiva's been on DP side of the field. See if they can convert it into points. And
Dennis
so far, a great
handled the high
start.
snap.
That's Jerome on the end around. Great blocking up front, and then Jerome leveling a couple of hits there at the end.
And Jerome on the carry, and he's got extra yardage after contact, and that is going to take the ball all the way down to the DP red zone. The ball spotted at the 18-yard line for a pickup of 21. First and 10 Mustangs.
So, Neil, that looked, if you didn't know any better, you'd think that the players hadn't switched sides back again. You'd think those were blue jerseys doing that, because that's a DP hallmark to get a lot of yardage after contact, and that is exactly what Wekiva does there. He can be taught.
So Sessler, one back set, goes to the air, down to the sideline in the end zone, and incomplete. One-on-one coverage.
Pass intended for Xavier Gates is knocked away by Benjamin. That'll bring up second and 10 for the Mustangs.
Clock continued to ticking. 9:15 remaining.
So again, Neil, Wekiva obviously needs to have a lot more plays look like their best plays in order to be able to contend against a team like West Orange or Edgewater or Dr. Phillips or even Horizon. We'll see how that works against Oviedo, who again is not going to be a walk in the park for homecoming either. But you can see the capability there. You can see the raw talent is there. It just needs to be molded in such a way that it's happening on all the plays, or at least most of the plays, and not on the occasional play.
Right. Yeah, and again, that's moving from stage one, or building from the ground up, to stage two.
Devin Sessler on the carry for the Mustangs. That's good for a pickup of 8 yards. Puts the ball at the 10-yard line and brings up third and 2.
Eight minutes remaining. Once again, thank you for joining us on this Friday night. I'm Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi, the other voice, also the public address announcer, as a timeout is
The
taken.
Mustangs request their final timeout of the second half. 7 minutes, 56 seconds remaining, and the Mustangs knocking over the end zone with second and short.
So we also want to thank and give credit to our broadcast production students, manning the video aspects. And as always, we hope you enjoyed the broadcast as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. Obviously, we would have liked to have brought you a more competitive game, at least in terms of what the final score is going to be, but we do hope that you enjoy having access to this broadcast, as well as just being able to keep up with Wekiva football. Of course, as Mark did mention earlier, the volleyball team will be at home as well, as the teams stream back onto the field. They will be taking, the volleyball team will be taking on Ocoee the 18th, the 25th, next Thursday, as Wekiva tries to get on the board. And now they're going to be looking at fourth.
For Xavier Gates falls incomplete. And that'll bring up fourth and short for the Mustangs.
Yeah, no, that was well overthrown. It was closer to DP than it was to Gates. I mean, you gotta like the effort, you gotta like the gumption there. I don't know that I would go with that call on third and short. I think you get the first down and get 4 more tries. But
so one back set, they're going to go to the power running game, and I'm not sure who carried that, but he got the first down and then some, about 4 yards off that left side. Followed the guard and the tackle.
I I believe that was McNish. We'll go with that.
Isaiah McNish on the carry. He has the Mustang first down. Inside the 5 to about the 3-yard line. And McNish is over the goal line into the end zone for Mustang. Touchdown!
Same exact play, run twice. Just line your tackle and guard on the left side, run behind them. Nothing fancy. They push the defensive line back. And Wekiva does avoid the shutout. And as we were speaking about a good time during the second half, certainly Wekiva's got to feel better about themselves avoiding the shutout. And something to build on heading into next week's game against Oviedo.
Try is short, and so the score will remain 35-6 with 5:45 to go in the game.
And to our right, the Wekiva band playing the fight song.
Again, Neil, it's what you want to see from Wekiva. They've now been in scoring position 3 times and now finally convert. 4 times, excuse me, and now finally convert. The previous ones ending in turnovers. I believe 2 of them ended up in real turnovers and then 1 of them over on downs. So now Wekiva has, again, some kind of positivity to hang their hat on for this game and to build on as they think about Oviedo next week. Kind of puts the ball in play, traditional kickoff there, run back by Smith.
Jaden Smith on the return.
Dr. Phillips run the ball until the clock is no longer running. So I also want to point out too, Mark, I think the fact that at least so far Wekiva's not giving up any points, I think that's also something Wekiva can take as a positive.
Certainly from a defensive standpoint, getting the turnover, obviously after Wekiva gave up 1 of their own, and if they can keep this up and hold Dr. Phillips to 0 points, now obviously the running clock has a lot to do with that, but...
Hand off again, a hop, a skip over that left side as we drop under 3 minutes next to the 4:29.
Pick up a 5 yards to the 49-yard line. We'll bring up 3rd and 3 for the Panthers. Panthers cross midfield in Mustang territory for the first down. The ball's down the 46-yard line. right on the carry. Avante Scott saves the touchdown likely for the Mustangs and makes the stop.
So
we'll pause for an injury timeout. Ball is at the 24-yard line, maybe the 23.
So I'm going to head down to the field here, Mark, but want to sum it up. Your scoring. Matthews with the 5-yard touchdown, 10:40 first quarter. That capped off the 55-yard drive. Then the fumble recovery from Taylor, 33 yards. Wekiva making the mistake. They thought they threw a pass. It was a lateral. That, again, 33 yards, made 14-0. 1:19 first quarter remaining. West to Irvin, 30 yards, 21-0. Matthews, a 6-yard run, 2:55 before halftime, 28-0. And then the last play of the first half, Williams to Smith for 20 yards.
Avante Scott shaking over the play, making his way off to the assistance of our athletic training team.
And so also want to point out, Mark, again, this is not so much a matter of Wekiva's talent not being anywhere close to the level of DP. DP might have the better talent, but far from head and shoulders above it. Just more of the experience and age or veteranism, if there is such a word. Wekiva did get the ball 4 times in DP territory, 3 of the 4 ending with turnovers. So Wekiva is certainly showing some opportunity to be able to move the ball and provide competitiveness. Unfortunately, though, you can't win on what could have been as the EP continues to just motor that ball down. And so I will sign off from here. Say Wekiva still has some work to do, obviously, and take care until next week.
All right, thank you, Neil. Neil's going to head down and get ready to do some post-game interviews for the Apopka Chief. Meanwhile, I will take you to the finish line here on the broadcast as we pass the 70-second mark. We'll see whether DP is able to get points on the board in the second half, or even if they want to. Obviously, they don't need to change the outcome of the game, but we know that DP is not necessarily thinking about this game anymore. They're thinking about the next one. As we get a flag on the play prior to the snap, offsides Mustangs. That is a 5-yard donation to the Panther cause. It'll put the ball at, we'll call it the 7-yard line. 2nd and goal. That is going to take us to the end of the ball game. As time expires, Mustangs do finally put some points on the board in the 4th quarter, but it is a 35-6 victory based on the first half score for the Panthers. We want to thank everyone who came out to support your Mustang and Panther athletes tonight. We also want to thank those of you who joined us on YouTube and the NFHS Network. Thanks for being part of our broadcast this evening. Your next chance to catch anything at home is going to be Thursday, September 25th, as Mustang Volleyball hosts Ocoee, and that will be their in memoriam game. We'll be live streaming that on YouTube and the NFHS Network. Wekiva also has some OCPS Metro West tournament action between now or for the rest of the week as well. So 5:30 and 6:30 start times on Thursday. For football, your next chance to catch them is, of course, homecoming. And that is coming up next Friday night, September 26th, 7 o'clock kickoff. Make sure you get here early as we'll be introducing the Mustang Homecoming Court, and then we'll have the crowning of the King and Queen at halftime. I will have a sealed envelope at my station in the press box, which will remain under guard until the appropriate time of the halftime ceremony. We'll have a big reveal. And then any band performances that are preempted from halftime will still occur, but they'll be after the game. We hope that you'll join us next week as the Mustangs host the Oviedo Lions for Homecoming 2025. For those of you here in the stadium, please drive carefully and arrive home safely. Those of you watching online, we hope you'll subscribe before you go. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Wekiva Sports, and bookmark Wekiva Mustangs for all of your scores, schedules, and more. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Until then, good night from Mustang Field.